4 payments. That's all it said on the screen. 4 payments of $18. No interest, no catch. Just tap, confirm, done. It felt smaller than $72. It felt like nothing, actually. And that's the part nobody warns you about. Not the fees, not the fine print, the feeling. Right now, more than a third of Americans are holding at least one of these plans. Nearly half of them have paid late on one in the past year. Not because they're careless, because the entire system was built around one quiet psychological trick. It doesn't make spending easier, it makes spending invisible. And once money becomes invisible, something strange happens to the way you think about it. Here's how it usually starts. You're checking out online, something you want, not even something you need. And right there, next to the total, is a second number, the real price, crossed out almost. And beneath it, 4 small payments. Suddenly, the math in your head changes. You're not thinking, can I afford $72? You're thinking, can I afford 18? And the answer is almost always yes. So you click it. It feels responsible, actually. You're not putting it on a credit card. You're not accumulating interest. You're being smart about it. A week later, you do it again. Different store, different item, same 4 payments. A month later, you check your accounts, and there are 3 of these running at once. Different amounts, different due dates, all quietly pulling from the same checking account. You're not in crisis, you're not panicking, you're just busier than you used to be. Busier keeping track of money you didn't think you were spending. This is normal now. Not rare, normal. Groceries are increasingly being split into 4 payments, even basic weekly groceries. When the everyday becomes installment-based, something has shifted in how an entire generation relates to money. Let's be precise about what's happening, because the mechanism matters. Buy now, pay later isn't really about payment flexibility. It's about changing the unit you think in. When you see $72, your brain runs a small, almost automatic calculation. Do I have this? Is this worth it? What else could this money do? That calculation is friction, and friction is exactly what keeps spending in check. Split that same $72 into 4 payments of 18, and the calculation changes entirely. $18 barely registers as a decision. It's coffee money. It's nothing money. You're not evaluating the purchase anymore. You're evaluating 1/4 of it 4 separate times, each one small enough to never feel like a real decision. The total never gets evaluated as a whole. Retailers know this. It's not a side effect, it's the design. Average order values rise 20 to 40% the moment a buy now, pay later option appears at checkout. Not because people suddenly need more, because the math got smaller, even though the number stayed exactly the same. Here's where it compounds. 6 in 10 people using these plans aren't running just one. They're running 2, 3, sometimes more at the same time. Each one feels small in isolation. $18 here, $22 there, $15 on something else. None of them feel like debt, but debt was never about how a single payment feels. Debt is about what all your obligations add up to on one specific day, and these plans are brilliant at hiding that day from you. Different providers, different due dates, different apps, different notifications, sometimes no notification at all until the morning it's already withdrawn. The average user now carries roughly $2,000 across these plans at any given time. Not because they intended to borrow $2,000, because 18, then 22, then 15, then 30 quietly assembled into 2,000 without ever feeling like a single large decision. That's the trap. Not one bad choice, dozens of small ones, each engineered to feel like no choice at all. Here's what's actually happening in your mind, and it's worth sitting with. Humans don't evaluate money in absolute terms. We evaluate it relative to a reference point. $72 feels like a real expense because we're comparing it to nothing, to the zero we'd have if we walked away. $18 feels like a real expense because we're comparing it to other $18 things. A meal, a subscription, Small stuff. The buy now, pay later interface doesn't lie to you, it just changes your reference point. And once your reference point shrinks, your sense of affordable shrinks with it, even while your actual financial exposure grows. This is the same psychological lever behind why a 30-year mortgage feels more manageable than the total cost of the home, why a monthly subscription feels harmless compared to its yearly total. We have built an entire economy around making large numbers feel small by chopping them into pieces too small to question. It's not that you're bad at math, it's that the system was never asking you to do the math. It was asking you to feel something smaller than the truth. Now, I want to be fair here, because not everything about this is a trap. For some people, in some situations, these plans genuinely help. No interest, paid on time, used deliberately for something already budgeted, that's not dangerous. That's just a payment schedule. The problem isn't the tool, it's the unconsciousness around the tool. The research backs this up too. Default rates on these loans are actually low, under 2%. Most people do pay them off. But default isn't the only measure of harm. 47% of users have paid late at least once this year. That's not collapse, that's friction, that's stress. That's a fee you didn't plan for. And more revealing, more than half of users now say they couldn't make ends meet without these plans. That's not a flexible payment tool anymore. That's a paycheck bridge, a quiet, recurring dependency dressed up as a convenience feature. The honest version of this conversation isn't never use it. It's know exactly which one you're doing. Are you using it because it's smart cash flow management, or are you using it because it's the only way the number feels survivable? Those are very different financial lives, even though they look identical at checkout. So here's what to actually do with this. Step 1. Before you ever click Pay in 4, say the full price out loud. Not the 18, the 72. Make your brain evaluate the real number, not the fragment it's being shown. Step 2. Never have more than one of these plans active at once. If you're already paying one off, the answer to a new one is no, by default. Step 3. Write every active plan in one place. One list, all due dates together. The entire danger of stacking is that no single app shows you the full picture. You have to build that picture yourself. Step 4. Ask the real question before checkout. Would I buy this if I had to pay the whole amount right now in one payment? If the answer is no, the 4-payment version doesn't change that answer. It just delays when you find out. Step 5. If you're already using these to cover groceries or bills, that's not a budgeting problem to solve with better tracking. That's a signal that your monthly numbers don't currently work, and the fix is further upstream than any app can reach. None of this requires giving up the tool entirely. It just requires putting the friction back that the system worked so hard to remove. There's an old idea in economics called money illusion, the tendency to judge money by its face value instead of what it actually represents. Buy now, pay later is money illusion, engineered on purpose, sold back to us as convenience. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Not about one payment app or one purchase or one receipt. It's about noticing when something has been designed to make a real number feel smaller than it is. Because that pattern doesn't only live at checkout. It lives in the way a 30-year loan hides its true cost, in the way a monthly fee hides its yearly total, in the way just $18 can quietly become $2,000 without a single moment that felt like a decision. The goal was never to fear these tools. The goal is to stop letting any system do your math for you. Because the moment you bring the full number back into view, the real one, not the fragment, you stop reacting to money, and you start, finally, choosing it.